Hi, it's James here from Hoxton Therapy. Do you have a question on mental health? Is there something that you've been burning to ask a therapist but never get a chance? Well, here's your chance. You can ask your question in the comments section below, and we will try our best to answer those questions in future video content. So this might be short form, 60-second videos on Instagram, or it might be more long form content on Facebook and YouTube. So ask your questions and we will try our best to answer them. But in this particular video, we're going to be talking about feeling lonely, and that's coming up right after this. If someone came to you and they were feeling lonely, what can you do? What do you say to them?
Well, presumably from what you're saying, they've noticed they're feeling lonely, and it's a problem. You know, they're feeling unhappy and things aren't going well for some reason. I think the first thing I do is keep in mind a distinction I make between being alone and being lonely. They're two very different things. So if I'm alone, literally I'm I'm on my own. No one else is around, whether I'm in a room or a house or outside, whatever. You know, I'm on my own with no one else around. Lonely is an internal psychological state. So it's quite possible to be alone and not feel lonely. And conversely, it's quite possible to be amongst people, whether it's a crowd of people you don't know, or even right there amongst people you think you know well, care about, family, work colleagues, friends, whoever. It's possible to be amongst people and feel lonely. It's possible to feel lonely even though you're having a relationship with someone and living with them.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that actually. I've been in relationships like that before.
So it's two different things: aloneness and loneliness. And someone who's lonely or experiences himself as lonely is, I think, they're finding it difficult to connect. There's one of the famous quotes, "Only connect." The idea is we all need to be connected. And there are two ways I'd like to look at that. One is more obvious than the other. So the obvious way, the obvious thing that comes to mind when I say difficulty in connecting, we think of other people, right? Connecting with other people. And in business, you hear this expression, really good to connect with you. Let's connect. Might even be on social media. Let's connect on social media. Or we might feel we've got a connection. You and I might feel that we have a connection. So that involves understanding what's going on for that other person, understanding what's going on for me, and seeing. I would use the word vibration, seeing what kind of vibration there is between us, and that could tell us something about the quality of the connection. And of course, you might use the word relationship. That's a relationship. But another less obvious way of thinking about connection is whether we are connected with ourselves, whether we're connected internally. Now, this raises the question about, well, are we, human beings, are we one thing, or are we lots of things within one system? So it's possible to look at ourselves and go, I'm a person with memories, memories of, just for example, memories of when I went to school, memories of when I used to live in the flat before this one and what that was like, etc., etc. So I'm made up of memories, made up of feelings. So there's a list of half a dozen or a dozen very, very common feelings that people have. sadness, anger, shame, disappointment, fear, and then the so-called positive ones: anticipation, surprise, joy, ecstasy, whatever. So we've got all that whole package of emotional life going on. Going to sneeze? Go for it.
Anyway.
So back to what was I? Oh yeah, that's the whole bag of feelings there that we've got. We have desires, things we want. And so sometimes I say to someone, "What do you want?" And they go, "What do you mean?"
Oh yeah.
What do you want? Well, what do you mean? I don't know. And they're just flummoxed with the question. Don't know what to say. And there's all sorts of things we want. You know, for example, I might want a garden. That's a simple thing. I might want a garden. I might want a bigger house. I might want a car. I might want recognition. I might want connection. I might want peace and quiet. There's all sorts of things that we want. So these desires are part of us, ourselves. And then another part is, what are my fantasies? You know, what's most of us are aware that we dream. We have dreams at night time, and things crop up in our dreams that we wouldn't think of during the daytime. We also have daydreams. We might be sitting down, might be relaxing, might be trying to work, but instead we're distracted and our mind's wandered somewhere. And we have this picture in our mind of some person we know or some place we've been. And we might realise we're daydreaming and going, oh yeah, and that's a sort of an imagined thing, it's a fantasy. So we've got fantasy, well, I'll just recap.
Yeah.
So we've got feelings, we've got desires, we've got fantasies, we've got memories. All these things make up some of the things that make up who we are. We've also got defences, which is a really big topic and interesting topic. Yeah. Defences are the way in which we try to ward off difficult feelings. So we might say, oh, well, I don't want to feel sad. I don't like feeling sad. So I'm going to ward that off with something, with a defence. Yeah. So what's that defence going to be? It might be, for example, denial. So kind of pretending that something never happened or isn't happening that really is happening. Typically, I mean, almost stereotypically, with someone that dies, someone's died in our life, and it's a very difficult thing to face, losing someone, if it's someone close and meaningful. And this doesn't automatically happen with everyone, but one thing that we may notice is we kind of forget that they've died. We kind of go, oh, I'll just phone Mum. Go grab the phone and then, oh, hang on, I can't phone Mum. She's died. And that's a form of denial. It's not like we're standing in the witness box saying, no, it's not true. We kind of know on one level that that person died, but also our mind is operating as though they didn't die. So that our mind is kind of denying that it really happened. So that's just one example of defences. So there's all these things that make up who we are, lots of aspects of ourselves. And I haven't even begun to mention the physical body that we've got. I've been talking about the internal psychological world. So, how does this relate to loneliness, which is what we were talking about?
I guess it's just being in denial of being lonely. Is that right?
No, I wasn't going to say that, because I think loneliness is something which often people will not deny.
Oh, right.
Because I think it's a very palpable feeling, a very kind of, probably for most people, quite an obvious feeling, like, oh God, I feel lonely. I hate being on my own. I can't stand it. but what shall I do? No, when I said back to loneliness, what I was going to say was this: that I believe that in order for loneliness not to be a problem, I need to be basically happier, more content when I'm alone. And how do I do that? Partly by being more connected within myself. So my approach is, if I'm more in touch with my feelings, my memories, my desires, my fantasies, if I know them really well, I know who I am, I'm more able to tolerate being alone and this one person in this skin. I'm no longer connected by the umbilical cord to my mother.
Yeah.
And I can, I'm going to feel less lonely then, less miserable. So that's my approach in therapy, to help people get to know themselves.
Hi, so I hope you enjoyed that video and you got something from it. If you didn't, leave a dislike or maybe even just like the video. But more importantly, if you've got a question on mental health, maybe it's not related to what you were just watching. Maybe there's something else that's been burning inside you for a long time that you just need answers on, but you can't go to therapy for whatever reason, then leave your question in the comment section below and we will try our best to answer your question, whether it's in written form in the comments, or maybe it's a short video on Instagram or a longer video on YouTube. Whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to ask us, leave a comment below and we will try our best to answer your questions in future videos. So whatever you do, please like this video, comment if you liked it, leave a dislike if you didn't like it so we know if you didn't like it, and until next time, stay safe out there. It's like COVID-19 at the moment.